That AV course you took paid off, huh?
Okay. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call members, please.
Councilmember Southwick here. Councilmember Maury.
Present here.
Supervisor Trombley.
Here.
And Councilmember Moore and Hunter are absent.
Okay. We need to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 9th, maybe?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Is there any corrections required or revisions? I didn't see anything wrong. If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Presentations of petitions, communications, and general question period for members of the community. Please limit it to 5 minutes, and please, when you speak, state your name and your address. All right.
Good evening, Gary Reed, and Paul DeMers, we're representing the North Country Golf Course. I left some photos on your page, on your desk here. It's concerning the issues with drainage on basically the property that the town of Champlain owns. The ditch reaches from the south side of the course, traverses across the entire course and empties out on the north side against the Prospect Street Road. Once it reaches that road, it runs into a barrier because that ditch is full of just debris. I mean, there's stuff that falls in there, and it's been probably 10 years, I would think, since that cart path or bike path was built
Probably
along there.
close to that, yeah.
And it's just getting where cattails and sectors are piling up in there. I inspected it today just as a walkthrough, both sides of the road, north side and south side of the street. There is a considerable amount of damage on one of the culverts that goes underneath Prospect Street. It's been crushed, or not the culvert itself, but the intake of that culvert has been crushed to the point where it only accepts possibly half the intake that it can take. And with that being said, it's not getting rid of the water that flows across that course. The best thing that could happen would be that the town would clean that whole ditch from one side to the other, but that's just something that I don't believe could happen. If it was in the middle of winter and we had a frost in the ground that was 2 feet deep, it would be beautiful. This is not the year to happen. But certainly along that roadside and fixing that culvert would help alleviate some of the issues that we've had all this past summer. If you'll notice, I circled a portion of that picture. That area is the second fairway. That circle doesn't even represent the total amount of water that was on that course at that time. It's just kind of representative to show you exactly how much water backs up and how much flooding it encompasses on that fairway. I don't know that relieving that issue underneath the road or resolving that issue that goes underneath the road with the culvert being collapsed or the intake being collapsed is going to help drain that property. We have Rovers Fields, or not Rovers, but Drew's Fields on the south side of this that drain into there, and then we get to the north side, and that's Rovers Fields, Drew's Fields again. We have to drain through their fields. I don't know how we'd go about getting those guys to do anything, but if we could alleviate some of the issues along the edge of Prospect Street, it would be certainly helpful for us. We lost 35 days of play this past year. That's that's almost a fifth of our season, and that's not good.
Yeah, we had a lot of rain. And
We
you're
had a
right-
ton of rain, yes.
And you're right, the tiling that's on the south of you is adding to the problem.
Yes.
Right.
So.
Now,
the thing
with
we
that
have to
being
watch
said,
is make sure the north is draining well or not.
well, my look at it today was not to the, I didn't walk that far back. As far as my little pink line goes, is probably as far as I walked back and along that line. And it does seem to be flowing through there. I don't know what happens with an absorbent amount of water, what happens when it gets to the other end. But, you know, that creek has been and I call it a creek, but it's not really a ditch. That thing's been there since I was a kid. I can remember fishing in that thing. It goes all the way down, empties out in the fort, or on the north side of the fort. But, yeah, the tiling on both sides of us has been an issue, or is an issue, because they're dumping all that water into that creek, and then it's got nowhere to go except up against the highway, and then it backs up on our property, or your property, our rented property, but
It's up in the course.
anyways, just wanted to bring that to your attention and see if there's something we can get done, as far as your
I'll have to get with Alan.
get with Alan. I just as an afterthought here, I did take Alan around on the course this summer after one of those heavy rains. I did show him some of the issues that we were having beyond this, which is not that has nothing to do with you guys, because there again, you know, once if the rain comes, it's going to come. You got to get rid of it somehow, and with clay being saturated, it has nowhere to go. So, anyways, that's all I had to say, and I appreciate your considerations, and thank you so much for allowing us to speak.
You're welcome, Gary. Paul, you have anything?
Well, we've been chosen to be part of the rotation for the high school sectionals, and this happens to be one of our years, so we'll have a host of all of those people here this year. The Chamber of Commerce has chosen us to be, you know, their course of choice for their tournament now. And also too, I think Billy is moving his tournament to Champlain this year, so we've got a couple highlight things coming, so.
Okay. No.
Overall, I think we all feel that the course has been, we've had a bunch of issues that we've had to deal with over the years. A couple of years ago we spent over $10,000 in chemicals and grass seed to control or to deal with the skunk issues that we had over there. That was just tremendous amount of an issue that, you know, you don't expect, but you have to deal with things. And as Paul said, we've had the Chamber of Commerce picked us over Adirondack, Bluff Point, and the Barracks to host their tournaments at. 100 and how many? 44 people. And all of them, you know, members of this community who have, you know, who want to play golf at our course. At our course, because it is our course. It's a public golf course. With that being said, how did you, because of the fact that we're not a public place in the sense that we didn't get the funding for the trees, how did you guys all make out on that, or do you?
We don't know, the county just sent the application in
okay.
10 days ago roughly.
Yeah, we had the DEC forester, I think you guys were there as well, I can't remember.
No, I met with the county only, oh yeah, no, she was with him.
She was with them.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
Really great person, she was very helpful for us in getting us on the right path to what we needed to do. But
Yeah, I know, it was unfortunate, I was hoping our side would be qualified,
yeah,
eligible as well, but it wasn't.
it's more for, I believe it was that they were more dealing with parks and recreation areas and not, even though we're a public course.
Municipal properties.
Right, municipal properties, not necessarily something you have to pay to go on to or something like that, but.
Yeah, it's because it's ran by a private club, that
Yeah.
is the key.
Yes, even though we're not-for-profit, it's still, yeah. Anyways, thank you for your attention and,
You're welcome, and I'll get back to you when we talk to Alan. and we'll
yep,
go from
you
there.
know how to contact us, and if you have any questions, certainly reach out to us, either Paul or myself. We can do our best to answer what you need to know.
Okay.
Thank you. With that, we're gonna probably leave, I think.
You don't want to stay?
Did you want us to?
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you
Gary,
very much.
Gary, you might want to get a hold of the DEC. The problem lies, number one, with that culvert you're talking. We used to trap that, Don Turner and myself.
Absolutely.
You go down past the customs on 9B, and there's a big beaver dam right there, like you go to Canet.
Yeah.
That's holding the water back, and you got coffer dams between there and Grandma's Island at the fort where it
Right.
empties in the lake.
Well, as I said, Gary, I mean, we fished that thing for years.
Right,
all
but the
way down.
DEC would have to get involved to
Yeah.
remove those dams. Because
Well-
I feel the water too. I'm getting it all from 276. And that's backing up on you, it's backing up on us.
Yep.
So that's my thought on that deal.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
Let's
Thank you,
look
folks.
at the north side too, thanks. Anybody else, or everybody here for a public hearing? You have something?
Is it the appropriate time to talk about the solar?
No, we're gonna go into the public hearing for that,
Okay,
which is in 3 minutes, or we can start at 3 minutes early. I don't think it'd be a problem if there's nobody else has anything to say from the public. You guys okay with that? Close enough? I'll need a motion to recess the regular meeting and go into public hearing now.
Make a motion to recess the regular meeting to go into the public hearing scheduled for 7:15.
Correct.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now we're into the public hearing for the local law number 1, which is the revisions to the solar law portion of our code. So, any comments?
well, I was kind of curious as to whether or not you were going to speak to this at all. There hasn't been a whole lot of information about it. Cindy and I picked up a map, a couple weeks ago, when it was first available. The one that I have has this entire area, pretty much the entire gray area that you see here. It's a pinkish color. And that's where apparently the engineering company has decided that large-scale solar could exist.
Yeah, not the engineering company. That was done by a committee here of consistent.
That wasn't AES?
They did the map, but no, they did not choose the areas that we,
Okay,
basically what we did was we zoned out the main corridors and any areas that were, we felt were prime for development in the next 20 to 30 years.
gotcha. So I guess I have a couple questions pertaining to this. So basically, almost the entire town of Champlain, on my map is shaded, where your map is gray, it's shaded pink, which indicates pretty much the entire town of Champlain, with the exception of the Route 11, Route 9, and Point of Fair, and a little bit around the golf course.
In Prospect, yes.
Yeah, is that what we want as a town, the entire, I mean, are we like just giving up as a town and saying, let's just put solar here?
You could also look at the areas around Point of Fair, close to Rouse's Point on 9B, Cooperville area.
I did.
Yeah, those are all included as well. So we were very careful to try to protect anything that we felt was going to develop either housing or commercially. The rest is all open, I mean, it's land, like that area you just hit,
Right,
the chance of the solar farm going there is probably slim to none.
right, I understand that. But it just seems like we're opening an awful Pandora's box by saying all of these, and these areas are all zoned differently.
But they were all included in this law previously. We're just specifying it now with a zoning overlay map that shows us a picture.
So are you changing the zoning? Is that my understanding?
Slightly, because we are zoning out that Route 11 corridor, which currently, today, only has a setback.
Right.
of 500
500
feet.
feet, right, I know that. Well, I guess my concern is, a lot of these solar companies seem to be coming in with the idea of taking advantage of the North Country. I know that the water project, I went through my sister's yard, and she was talking with the guys doing the water project, and they said it was a big joke. They said that they kind of threw that to Champlain and didn't think Champlain would bite, and they couldn't believe that Champlain bit, so they were doing that. Now we've got a big solar push. I just think that
It's not a
we're,
solar push.
I think
Solar
we're,
law was, as I described before, was originally written to protect. We had nothing before, so that left us wide open. The state is gonna push the solar, and if they did, if there was a spot big enough and we had the infrastructure of, through NICEAG to get it out, they would overrule this and just put it in.
right. NICEAG doesn't seem to be terribly interested in doing that at this time, though,
If they wanna pay for it.
which they don't.
Right, so the example was that Hayford Road, that was gonna cost $1 million to get the power out of there.
I know.
So that was fortunate, right? We don't have to deal with that now,
No,
and we've zoned
thank
it
you,
out.
I will thank you for that. But, I don't know how to say this politely, I'm trying not to be adversarial here. I've been to the planning board meetings a couple of times, and I don't see a lot of activity there. I've asked a couple times, what is the strategic objective here for Champlain? What is our plan? What do we want to see? What do the citizens want to see? I don't see any of that happening at the planning board level, and yet we're going ahead with all these, what I would call infrastructure type projects to feed what? I mean, what are we getting from all of this?
Well, that's a separate question, Mary Ann, from this. So we can talk about that separately sometime. Please come by. We're entering into a comprehensive plan. This is actually like a part of it. We're just trying to do it earlier than later, because it's gonna take probably a year to get through this comp plan. And we felt we're too vulnerable after seeing the Hayford Road project almost happen. We felt we're vulnerable, so we're trying to protect those developable areas better.
You don't think that we have more developable area in that pink zone? I mean, almost the entire town.
Maybe 40, 50 years from now, but no, not in the next 20 years. I'd be pleased if we, in the next 5 years, see a lot of development in the Route 11 corridor. But the chance of developing all that farmland and wooded area land and wetland, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, no.
Well, I'm looking beyond 20 years. I'm looking long-term. I'm worried that what we're doing here today might do some damage down the road. I mean, long after I'm dead and buried, but my children and grandchildren.
So what's your suggestion? That's really what this is, it's a public hearing. I'm doing a lot of back and forth, which I shouldn't be doing. You should be giving me your opinions, and then we'll weigh it.
I know, but you know how annoying I am. I can't help myself. It's just, I don't think enough thought has gone into the long-term ramifications of this. I think you might have opened yet another Pandora's box that you may not be able to put the lid on, and that,
Well, if we don't, that Pandora's box is already there, okay? That law's in place, which allows it everywhere with those setbacks. We're trying to make this a little better.
how does that make it better?
By zoning out of all those areas completely, of the developable property along Route 11, along Route 9, protecting Point of Fair better, because there was one area that they could have got into. That area in the Cooperville area where there's a chance of more housing probably someday. That's how it makes it better. Rather than just allowing it with the large setbacks and all the other criteria we put in there to help protect the residents, this is one step further.
A lot of the property is owned by the Giroux family. What if, I don't see it happening in my lifetime, but, you know, hypothetically, what if they suddenly say, well, we've had enough, let's just sell everything to solar?
I,
What if?
what if? Well, I guess if there was a means of getting that much power out of here, that would be possible, but it wouldn't be everything they have. They have thousands of acres. I mean,
I know,
you're talking a state one. So if they decide to do that, whatever we do means nothing. If that happened. So there's your what if. If it happened, then New York State will take over, and it'll be under their control, not ours. So anytime you get over, what is it? Our large scale is it five megs, I believe?
Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah, once you get over that, then the state can just take over on it, and it's ran by them. Our zoning means nothing at all at that point. So if you were right and that would have happened, we wouldn't have a choice anyways. But at the same time, it would be unfair to tell these farmers, or I've had some even come in when they heard about this, they thought we were zoning it out. I have land, you know, this is one of them. His comment was, I have land that's poor producing, and I could use some supplemental income. I would like to put solar on there. I said, well, that's up to you. I don't feel it's right for me to tell him that he can't have a supplemental income when he's struggling as a farmer.
Mhm.
But we did give it a lot of thought, Marion.
Has any thought gone into protecting substantial amounts of agriculture land?
It's already in the law. It prevents, it only allows them to use 50% of prime ag. So anything that's considered prime agricultural by the state is, they can only take half of it. So for example, the one in the Mason Road, there's gonna be one chunk, if you were here for that presentation, where Mr. Lapierre is gonna still farm that, I think it's, I can't remember, I wanna say it's 80 acres, but I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I think it's an 80-acre piece.
I have one last question, and I think it belongs here, but it's going to trickle down to the other committees that you have. With the Hayford, I'll call it debacle, what we found was the seeker was the problem, or part of the problem. The seeker report prepared by the solar company was an absolute nightmare. It was not accurate in so many ways. And yet that was going forward, that fed the part two of the seeker, which the zoning board was going to look at. So my question to you, hopefully you can respond to this, whose responsibility is it to fact check the seeker part one to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again?
Well, I think I think the planning board and the zoning board learned from that exercise.
We all did.
That's why we put a halt on it. We put a 60-day hold, hired an outside firm to review all the documents, and the outside firm, which was AES, is the one that determined the seeker was not done properly. So that was gonna stop it and make them repeat the work. At the same very time, they got the notification of the cost of the power, and they just decided to back out and let it go.
Right, so going forward, who will be in charge of fact-checking seeker part one?
That would be the planning board. So if they're uncomfortable with it, they're gonna need to ask to hire the outside firm. It's in the law that the solar company has to provide the funds for that up front. So all they have to do is ask.
Okay. Well, does the planning board know that that's their purview now?
As far as I know, they should. They just went, that's the last project they went through on.
I'm worried. I've
Well-
seen the planning board in action. I've seen who's running it. I'm not impressed. And I'm worried.
Well,
So I'm asking you, as the grand poobah here, to keep a close eye on that.
I can, and I will advise.
Because I have a lot of time on my hands. I can
can't
certainly
over-
fact check
I can't
every single one of
overrule
them.
But I can advise them. That's kind of how we ended up where we were.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
anybody else? Mr. Rafa?
Tom Batha from Rouse's Point.
Hi.
I just had a couple of questions, and these are questions that I don't know the answer to, so maybe you can enlighten me. First off, the law regarding this, now this is something New York State changed, that they can just put solar farms up anywhere in,
Yes, for large farms, yes, that has been in place.
okay,
I don't wanna speak on how many years it's been in place, but several.
okay. And the other thing, are these taxable as structures besides the property? Like, if they put, I don't know what a solar farm costs, but say they put $100,000 in it, like, if you put up $100,000 addition to your house, your assessment would go up 100,000, right? Are we covered with this, or are they all buried in pilot agreements and?
Both pilot agreements, and also NYSERDA has a formula for calculating the tax. So essentially, I'll try to give you a picture. A $2 million solar farm gets calculated by the amount of energy they produce, and it keeps knocking down the value of it based on the amount of energy they produce.
So they're subsidizing a private
This
business?
is the state that's doing
Yeah.
it, okay, because they're trying to get more solar. This is their initiative, right? Want to go green, they need more solar, they need more electricity to feed their cars, etc. So at the end of the day, that tax gets whittled down, but it's still much greater than what the empty farmland was. And then the pilot agreements that Clinton County IDA offers gives them a flat rate for 10 years. So, don't quote me, but I believe the one on the Mason Road is 20 grand per year for 10 years.
That's what they're paying, or?
Yeah, and as farmland, it was about 3,
Mm-hmm.
roughly.
Okay.
And that, again, don't quote those numbers. I'm trying to remember what Tim Sapinski has told me, but, so yes, we gain a little bit of tax out of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was here a little over 6 months ago. They're talking, is there any movement to put one of these farms up on the old landfill? Which to me would be the ideal place to put one, because you can't see it from anywhere.
Yes, we've been working with a company with that for about 1.5 years now. It's going very slow. I think what's holding them up is investors in regards to borrowing the money because of the interest rates is one of the factors. But I spoke to him a few weeks ago, and he claimed that he would be coming soon for an application. That's all I know. That one there is, I am really trying to get that one, because that one's gonna lease the land from the town, which is going to be very profitable
Right.
and cover our expenses on the landfill.
And then plus get the tax money from it, if there is any. Revenues.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any tax money, but this one, he was offering a community benefit, and I believe it was about 10 grand a year.
Something to that effect, yes.
I think it was 10,000 a year community benefit. So
Plus
that's-
the lease?
Plus the lease.
And you think the lease would be enough to cover whatever it costs to maintain the,
Oh, definitely, yeah, the lease was, it cost us about 20,000 a year. The lease was, what, was it 1,500 a month, I think? I can't remember. It was gonna cover our expenses.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything else regarding the public hearing?
Oh, I just made it in time.
Yeah, I'll have to come back to you.
Okay.
Okay, if not, board have anything? If not, I'll make a motion to go back. Unless you have any comments.
No, you were very thorough, and appreciate the audience asking questions and wanting to get to the bottom of this. And, you know, I would say to anybody with concern or doubts, this is something that if it's not meeting our needs, we can readdress it in the future. So it's good to continuously evaluate whether it is meeting our needs. So that's important. So thank you for all the comments.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll adjourn the public hearing. No, I will not do that. I will ask for a motion to recess the public hearing.
To adjourn.
It is adjourned, I was
It is
right, okay,
adjourned.
so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the public hearing and go back into the regular meeting.
Correct.
Good, and I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now that we're back, we'll get into the two presentations. Jennifer, I've got you second. Michael Miller from the Clinton County Health Department, and Melina Tanner.
I'll move this one, just so they can see it. Hopefully it doesn't fall.
Trapped yourself.
I think I'll be okay. Okay, so my name is Michael Miller. I work with the Clinton County Health Department, and we work on a grant called Creating Healthy Schools and Communities. And I apologize, I forgot my notes at home, so I'm looking at my phone. But for anyone not familiar, I just wanted to go over what the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities grant does. So it's a 5-year grant, and it's focused on increasing access to healthy foods and physical activity in our communities. And there are 4 strategy groups: work sites and community sites, schools, early care educators, and of course municipalities, which is why we're here today. And the grant overall throughout the state is funded by the New York State Department of Health, and it's designed to serve all age groups in under-resourced areas like the town of Champlain, to again help pay for projects that the town may not have the budget for. So the physical activity access goal with Creating Healthy Schools and Communities is again to increase physical activity by connecting everyday destinations with activity-friendly routes. Now that's a very technical way of saying making it safer and easier for people to walk, bike, and roll to wherever they would like to. So some examples of things we've done in the past: we've done a lot of signage for the Northern Tier Rec Trail, a lot of sidewalk repair, pedestrian signage, either at crosswalks or warning signs that you see throughout the county, and then the crosswalk and the shared road markings that are painted on the road are often funded by Creating Healthy Schools and Communities. So the goal of this, of course, is to collaborate between the health department and the municipality, in this case, the town of Champlain. So we have gone through the walk audit, which was more of a drive audit, because we drove throughout the town, and identified several projects that you see here on these maps that Melina will go over. And we're funding the projects, and then it's up to the town to implement the projects, either through, we're not able to pay for labor, basically. So the town has to implement the projects. And there are 2 types of funding. There's a subaward where the town pays for some of it and then they get reimbursed. But that's a little bit, we'll talk about that later because I don't know if that's going to come into play this time. And then there's direct purchasing where we purchase the items, they get delivered here, and then you install them. So due to the fact that we got a late start, I'll say, this grant year, our grant year ends May 31st, but I started after this grant year I started this job after the grant year had started, and due to some other issues, we got a late start, so we're on a pretty short time crunch. So we're hoping to get the projects prioritized within the next couple of days, which again shouldn't be an issue here in this case. And then we're going to get all of our direct purchasing done by March 1st. And then if there are any subawards, that we'll have to get receipt of purchase and proof of delivery by April 1st. And then we'll get the signed MOU and subaward voucher sent back to us by March 15th. And then I think everyone got a copy of the concept plan and cost estimate sheet that I had sent. So if you want to take a look at that, it just gives background information on the grant, what complete streets are and the goals of complete streets, and then community background information and some of the survey results that we got from the surveys we did on Facebook and a lot of the community groups. And at the end of it, you'll see both a smaller version of the map and then a project list that Melina created. And I will now introduce Melina, who developed these maps, and she'll go over what some of the projects are.
Hello everybody, my name is Melina Tamer. I am a community planner that worked with the health department to develop these concept plans. I'm just going to turn this on. I'm going to stand over here and try to present so that both the public and the board can see. Oh, I lost the leg. Hold on, I got it.
If you want to point that one towards them, I can point to what you're pointing at.
Okay.
For them.
So as Michael mentioned, the health department has a bucket of money from the New York State Department of Health, and they are working with all of the municipalities in Clinton County. This year, they are working with the town of Champlain, plus 3 other communities, the village of Champlain, village of Rouse's Point, and town of Shazy. They have about, I don't want to speak for the health department, but between $8,000 and $12,000 to spend. It's not a big bucket of money, considering infrastructure is very, very expensive. Roads are expensive, sidewalks are expensive. But what we did is we identified a few projects that are sort of like quick win projects, low-hanging fruit, things that can be accomplished this summer with those funds that will still have a complete streets impact, meaning that'll make the community safer to walk, bike, and roll. So, as Michael mentioned, these projects were developed based on some community feedback. A community survey went out this past fall. So we took the feedback from that survey and the residents, we incorporated that into these plans. Michael also met with the town in a separate meeting to talk about projects, and we also did a walk audit. So all of these projects are based on those 3 interventions. And what I'd love to do with you guys is sort of just like walk around this map talking about these projects at a very high level, just to give you an idea of the different kinds of things that can happen with these funds. So the town of Champlain was like a little bit of a different walk audit. Typically what we do is we start in, with downtown and we walk around taking assessments of the infrastructure, like what are the conditions of the sidewalk? Is it in good condition? Could somebody with a wheelchair get through here? Could somebody with a stroller push through here? What does it feel like walking to the park? Does it feel safe? Is there a lot of traffic? So it's just taking an inventory of the environment. Because the town of Champlain is very rural and spread out, we did have to drive a little bit. But what we did is we went to key destinations throughout the town, which are those everyday destinations that Michael was talking about, to try and connect those to the residents in the town. So we started at NCCS school. As everybody here knows, there's an amazing recreation trail that runs from the village of Champlain all the way to the village of Rouse's Point. So we tried to focus on that trail, improving that and its connection to the school and the community. And we've identified a need to add some solar lighting so that users can feel a little bit safer at night, especially when it gets dark at 4 o'clock. So we've spec'd some really nice commercial solar lighting. It's not like solar lights you put in your garden. These are $120 a piece. They're very durable. They have pretty good lumens. They can shed, I don't have it on here, but we spec'd 40 of them to be able to go about 400 feet. It's not a huge distance, but it's a start. Right. And the point of this funds, as I said, these are small quick win projects, but the point is to get the town thinking about these projects and to do these small projects, and then with the hopes that they'll build upon them in the future to continue to create these safe environments for people. So one of the projects to spend money was to do some solar lighting at the trail. We also identified an option to put some taller solar lighting near the trailheads near Route 276 and also Prospect Street, just as sort of like a landmark of where the trail starts and ends at that section. And then coming a little bit north of 276, we had a conversation about maybe extending the school speed limit zone west down Prospect Street towards like where the bus garage is and where the new fields are. School speed zones can go 1,500 feet beyond the entrance of the school, and right now there is no school speed zone here. So we would work with the town and the DOT to put together all of the paperwork and the support documentation with an ask to DOT to be able to implement that. So what's cool about this grant is it's not only planning, it's not only implementation, it's also technical assistance too. So the health department is also here to help put together some of that paperwork as well to try to push these projects through. Another project we talked about, sorry, I'm trying to get my bearings here. So on Prospect Street, we had worked with the town previously to do some improvements to the Northern Tier Rec Trail. And one of the upgrades that we had recommended was putting down pedestrian and bike stencils within the Northern Tier Rec Trail along Prospect Road to mark that just much more clear that this is for people and bikes. It is not to pull your car over on. It is not a wide shoulder for driving. So we recommended putting down those markings on the path. Unfortunately, the markings got put down on the drive lanes within Prospect Street, which is very dangerous. So we are recommending that those get removed as soon as possible. I did look into some options for doing that. It's not easy.
Excuse me, we were
Yeah.
hoping they wear down, we intend to.
I know.
They have worn down quite a bit.
They have.
worn down a lot.
They have.
So we're hoping that the brighter new ones that get put on the trail this year.
Okay, good. That's our hope too.
And that was a case of the map not.
I know. It was a communication error that just, it happens, but it's fixable, right? They've worn away, and if we need to, we could water blast them. We could call the county in to help. I know we don't want to probably grind down the entire Prospect Street. That actually brings up a good question. Does the town have any plans for paving? Like, is it on your CHIP schedule anytime soon?
It's not on for this year.
No.
I'm thinking within the next couple of years,
Okay.
yes.
Very cool. Okay.
You just cover it with driveway sealer temporarily,
They're every 250 feet though, all the way down Prospect Street, so it
a
would,
square of them.
You mean just the Shareway itself,
yeah,
the stencil?
Better than nothing, yeah.
yeah.
It might help.
So the recommendation is to remove those to the middle of the drive lanes and then put them on the actual 10-foot path along 276 to make that more clear that that is a bike path and a walking path. The next project, I'll move over here. So this is kind of confusing. This is actually 3 different maps. So coming up here to project number 5, we are now moving over to the Perry Mills Park. So this was another destination that was identified by the town as a place that people like to frequent, that could maybe use some pedestrian safety improvements. So one of the conversations that we had was that people are parking along the, what's the name of this road here? I'm sorry, Dubois Road.
This
Is
what
this
she's talking
Champlain or
about right here,
Rouse's
if
Point,
you
this
can
park?
tell.
Champlain.
Is it the one by the river?
Yes,
No.
it's by the river, isn't it?
Yes, but it's in Perry Mills, not the
Oh,
one
okay.
downtown.
Sorry,
Not
yes,
in the
Perry
village.
Mills. So one of the conversations we had was that people are pulling up alongside the basketball court and parking along Dubois Road, and there's actually not enough room to park a car there. A typical parking space is 9 by 18. We did some measurements there, it's 12 feet. So technically a car cannot park parallel there, or perpendicular, excuse me. So it was suggested that maybe cars could park at an angle. We did some measurements, it's still not wide enough to be 9 by 18. So the recommendation is to put in some landscaping, some bike racks, a bench, just make that a no parking zone whatsoever. It is quite dangerous the way that this corner is here coming around. If you had a car parking there with its tail end sticking out, I just don't think it would be very safe. So the recommendation is to put up no parking signs along the fence on that court, and then put in some trees and landscaping and bike racks, which this grant can all pay for.
Okay.
Let's see what else we got here. This is the most exciting project, I think, which I think the town was the most excited about as far as safety pedestrian improvements. This is the Church Street, South Street intersection where the Dollar General is. Right at the Village of Champlain, Town of Champlain border. So this is interesting because it's a lot of Village of Champlain residents who are walking to the Dollar General, but it's actually within the Town of Champlain. So it's going to be one of those really great collaborative projects that the health department has actually identified as something that they can pay for outside of your budget. So that's a great thing. So all of the materials, the signage can get paid for outside of your budget and outside of the village's budget. And the only thing you guys would have to do is just collaborate as far as your highway departments go and then actually implementing it. This intersection has no state routes, it has no county roads, this is all town roads and a village road. So not saying we can do whatever we want, because we will still have to meet DOT specs as far as the crosswalks are concerned and the signage is concerned and the path is concerned, but you don't have to go through the permitting process with them. So what I did is I did a bunch of measurements out here at the intersection, making sure that I was adhering to the DOT standards as far as road vehicle width goes, and then what the standard is for allowing pedestrians to walk alongside the road safely, which is 5 feet. So you guys have enough room there to have 2 10.8-foot lanes and a 5-foot walkway striped along the south side of South Street to allow pedestrians to feel a little bit safer walking to the dollar store. Because I will say that when we were out there, even for our walk audit, and then when I went out to measure later, it was scary standing out there. Cars go really fast down South Street because they use it as a cut through to avoid that light. So there's a lot of traffic coming through there. And obviously, there's a lot of people walking to the Dollar General. I saw 2 of them tonight when I came through there. So I think this is just a really great project that would just really improve that intersection.
And that's getting funded separately from?
Yes, that's not coming out of your
That's
8
what-
to 12,000.
So
It's, cause it's only about $2,400, for all the signs and the paint and everything. So and we didn't feel it was fair to put it all in the town's budget or all in the village's budget when it's really for both. So, and it's a relatively cheap project, so,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you.
The only thing that we didn't identify here, which I wanted to speak with you about tonight, and you can obviously speak with your highway department. So as you know, the sidewalk ends on South Street, coming north, coming south, and then there's nothing here at this intersection. So to create sort of like a little pedestrian refuge, it might be nice to sort of stripe out some paint as like a landing pad, you know what I mean? When you're coming across the road here, you sort of have like a stop area,
Okay.
just in case traffic is coming and you have to stay there and wait your turn. Right now, there's nothing, so you'd be dumping people sort of into like dirt and grass at this point. So the recommendation is to either stripe out a little landing pad or to actually put in something concrete with the ADA compliant pad, just a little square.
Okay. Can you give me what those measurements would be?
I can,
Is it
yeah.
5
What
feet probably?
I was talking to Michael, and I think what we'll do is we'll pull this map out and we'll enlarge it and give measurements.
Okay.
If you were to decide to do that, and I can talk about this more after you guys have any questions, but because of the projects that were identified, all of these are direct purchasable on our end. The big thing that would be used for the subaward, which is very difficult for us to purchase, is concrete. And that wasn't, unless you do the concrete pad, none of that was identified here. So we can direct purchase all $10,000 and avoid the subaward. Which just kind of clears up, it just makes it easier for us, because we can just go ahead and order everything, rather than have to wait for all the paperwork to come in, you guys have to prove that you bought everything and send us the receipts. So it just makes the process a little bit faster. But if you did, I think personally, concrete would probably be the best solution for that. So, I mean, it wouldn't cost that much, but that would be where the subaward comes into play, because you guys have to get a pre-purchased invoice from whatever company you decide, and then send us that invoice so we can reimburse you for it, which is not something the health department can do.
So it'd be a lot cleaner if we just did that little thing ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. Duly
With,
noted.
with all of that being said, does anyone have any questions about these projects or anything else that maybe we didn't identify as something that, you know, is a real sticking point that you've heard from the community?
I do, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I walk all over Champlain,
Okay.
all the time, every day. And there's 2 locations that would be really great if somebody could look into. One, if you go up Oak Street by the funeral home, so many people walk up that way. But all the sidewalks are off. They're all coming apart and it's terrible. You can trip and fall and break your neck if you're not paying attention. It's really, really bad. Like they're all wonky, okay? The second one is if you go down Church Street, where you go to Route 9, where that house burnt down by the mayor's place. She's fixed up. That entire sidewalk and parking lot is pothole central and the whole sidewalk is coming apart. It's terrible. Like you can't even walk there anymore.
That was
And-
identified in the village's plan, I believe.
Yeah,
I think that's where they
Place
decided
that
to do the
sidewalk.
sidewalk repair.
Yep.
Are they-
It might not be, so, I know we saw you yesterday at the Village of Champlain's thing.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
They identified, I think there was like 1,900 feet on Main Street that you had pointed out.
Like 3,100 feet on Church Street of
Yeah.
sidewalk repair. We identified a lot.
So
of
we
sidewalk repair
identified
in the
over
village.
$50,000 in sidewalk repair
Yeah.
just in the Village of Champlain. It's obviously much more money than we have. But I know that after speaking with Janet today, they're gonna do probably around 700 feet of sidewalk repair, right where you were talking about.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So-
it's very cool.
It's right across from a public park, so it's
Mhm.
dangerous.
Yes,
100%.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that during our walk with Janet that day,
So
so.
that's probably the majority of their grant funding that they're.
Most of
putting
it's
in.
going to sidewalks, a few crosswalks, but a lot of sidewalks. They really wanted a crosswalk at the Price Chopper, but after taking a look at it, I mean, we can ask the
Yeah, we
DOT to
talked
go out there and
about
do an
that.
engineering study, but it's so close to that intersection, and it's such a heavily trafficked intersection with trucks that I don't know if the DOT would approve a crosswalk there, which is unfortunate because people are using it already. sidewalk ends there, just kind of like naturally, it seems like.
Yeah, I know, but as I pointed out to you in our city walk that we did, they cut diagonally, and I don't know if that would, it may help some of the honest, safe folks go, oh, I'm gonna go up to the crosswalk, and then the majority of them would still cut diagonally.
For sure.
It's kind of like, you know, if you wanna put a sidewalk into the school, you might just as well put it diagonally to where the kids are walking, because they're gonna stay off it.
Does anyone have any questions regarding any specific projects?
So, the only question I have is, does that bring us in budget then by taking that nice offer from the county?
So all of our other municipalities, we identified a lot more projects that were gonna cost way more than what their budget is. But based on everything that was identified here, you guys don't have to do any prioritize any projects, because we can just pay for them all, which is great, because that's not the case for most of the other municipalities. So it does make it pretty easy, and, I can get to work tomorrow and just start ordering all the things that we need.
Okay.
And Michael said that he might be able to look into it, if there is extra money left over, that you could possibly, purchase more solar lights, right? Like, keep it going farther.
The cost estimate sheet that I had sent you does have the $2,300 or $2,400 for the South and Church Street in it. So you're actually under that $11,000. So rather than purchasing 30 solar lights, you could probably do closer to 50 if you wanted to. And the only other thing I wanted to say,
Board, but I think that would be money well spent.
yeah. At the Perry's Mills Park, I obviously want to stop people from parking right there on the road, and we talked about, because there's enough room in the back to have people park there. So we could provide the paint, I believe, to create some parking spaces so people know where they can park and where they can't park.
Okay.
Just so people aren't like, well, it looks like they closed the park because they can't park there anymore. So, yeah.
And one more thing. ATVs go on that path like you wouldn't believe, so I don't know if you can prevent them from ruining all your hard work, because they're out there all summer long
Really?
carrying that up. It's really bad.
The Northern Tier Rec Trail, you mean?
Yes, they so much involved to make that nice, and they're out there all the
It's a beautiful
time.
trail.
It is, yeah. Other than
Signage
road
or
spikes, I don't
something.
think we can do anything.
Signage, I don't know.
I was hoping I got a little better,
Mhm.
since the folks on the ATVs now have licenses and they're driving on the road.
I don't know if that's anything the town can do in terms of buying signs that say ATVs prohibited, fines
Well,
enforced,
that-
or anything like that.
You have bollards.
There is signage out there, there's ballards out there that just go around them. It's not unique to the town of Champlain.
No.
Yeah, no.
I've talked to other municipalities, they all have the same problem. It's unique to the country.
But yeah, thank you for having us. We're
Yes,
gonna leave
thank
these
you.
maps here so you can reference them. But I'll be in contact just to kind of go over, or where I should get all the items shipped to, and
Okay.
just kind of go through all of that. But yeah, the biggest thing really is just collaborating with the village, DPW, to implement projects on South and Church Street, because they were talking about how they're gonna be tied up on the water line on Main Street in the village this summer, so that'll have to be something that you guys work out, but that's really the main thing.
Okay.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you very much. And again, we're gonna leave these maps here so you guys can reference them.
Thank you, appreciate it. Well, thanks for your presentation. Look forward to hearing from you.
You're exciting.
Great job, by the way. It's gonna be good.
Okay.
And then there's one.
Losing an audience, Jennifer.
It's okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Got here late. Morris waits to have everybody from town talk till 45 minutes in.
Oh.
Holy cow. Anyway, you're gonna hate me for this, because we did the leash law last year, but I heard it's not even finalized, so I'm hoping maybe we can add something to it.
No, ours is finalized.
Is it finalized?
Yes, ours is finalized.
Maybe you'll hate me more now.
Well, I can tell you, do your presentation, I've got your material. I've read it page by page today, as a matter of fact.
I can't hear you over them, I'm sorry.
We will consider it, we're going to listen to the state side probably next month, hopefully. I'm hoping to invite Ag and Marks here. I want to hear their side of it, board to hear their side, I should say. And then we'll make decisions. But since ours is finalized, I don't want to jump on this and spend the money. I want to budget for it.
I can't hear.
And I'm not sure, and I can't even promise we're gonna do anything at all, but
Hey, I'm here for
our
something.
minds are always open. We'll listen, we will mull on it and make decisions.
All right, that's all I can ask. Thank you. All right, so I'm Jennifer, and I'm a retired Air Force E7, living here in Champlain. And today dogs are used in many amazing ways. In the military, they serve as explosive ordnance dogs, dogs assigned to sniffer bombs and other explosives. Some protect our borders, working beside U.S. Customs agents. Others work in airports with TSA. Many protect our cities and towns as valued members of local and federal law enforcement teams. And many serve as guide dogs for the blind. Dogs are valued companions and loving pets, and it seems that if well trained, they can do just about anything. Dogs truly are man's best friend. Unfortunately, New York State by law only requires that an owner provides a dog with food, shelter, and water. After that, it's entirely legal to leave a dog chained up in the freezing cold every single day and night, even if there's a blizzard. At the same time, it's legal to leave a dog tied out in 90-degree heat with 90% humidity. Tonight, I hope to convince you and your town to update your animal control laws to include laws on tethering, very much like other communities in New York State. Laws that make it illegal to chain dogs outside in conditions where it's considered dangerous for the dog. Laws that put a limit on the hours a dog is kept outside so as to prevent neglect. Tether by definition means to tie an animal with a rope or chain so as to restrict its movement. I'm not as concerned about a dog tied out for a reasonable amount of time. I am concerned about the dogs that do, however, become yard ornaments. They are tied up, neglected, and ignored. While the average person is kind to their dog, there are the 1% to 2% of dog owners that mistreat their pets and very badly. These are the owners that neglect their dogs by tying them out 24/7. These are the owners we need to update our animal control laws in order to stop. Chaining is detrimental to a dog's health and well-being. In fact, it has been proven that an otherwise docile dog, when chained out for long periods of time, may become neurotic, unhappy, anxious, and often aggressive. The CDC has also found that chained dogs are 2.8 times more likely to bite, and because of this can become dangerous animals. Not to mention that chained dogs often choke to death, are often attacked by predators, and commonly carry diseases from fleas and parasites that they cannot escape. What made me start fighting for these changes? Like with any law, it stems from a situation, a case so upsetting that it moves you to act. For me, it started with two very neglected and unlucky dogs living in Moores, New York. The dogs have no life at all. They are chained up in the middle of a field, approximately 50 yards from a trailer and 50 yards apart. They live in solitude on a chain. I discovered these two dogs back at the beginning of November, and a week later, after continuing to see them tied up, called animal control. The animal control officer explained that she is very aware of the dogs and that at least 20 people have called in complaints, but because they have food, shelter, and water, nothing can be done. I have watched these dogs live outside in horrifically cold weather through hurricane winds, snow, sleet, and freezing rain, day after day, all winter long, even when the temperatures drop down to below zero. On any given day, you can drive by and see one of the dogs tied up, living beside yard waste, surrounded by its own feces, standing on its doghouse to escape the cold under its feet, or see it lying on its rain-soaked frozen bed. The other dog seems to never come out of its doghouse. It's tucked away alone, just trying to stay warm. How do I know the dogs live outside 24 hours a day? One day I asked the owners, and they openly admitted that the dogs live outside all the time. They explained that the dogs are used to it because they have lived outside their entire lives. Again, this is entirely legal under New York state law. That is, unless the laws are changed. So here I am asking you for dogs such as these to update your town's animal control laws to include laws on tethering. While these dogs may live in Moores, New York, there are plenty of similar cases in Clinton County. I am requesting animal control law changes in all the surrounding neighboring towns, including Altona, Beekmantown, Champlain, which includes Rouse's Point, Chazy, Ellenburg, and Moores. I also plan to attend the Clinton County Legislature meeting on February 28th to request the same changes at the county level. I dropped off a fact-filled printed packet prior to my visit today. I hope you had a chance to look it over. Inside the handout, you should see very disturbing photos of dogs chained up, some that even froze to death. One in an igloo doghouse that was supposed to keep it insulated enough to stay warm. Next, the packet includes an impressively long list of communities nationwide where tethering is 100% prohibited by law, and another long list of communities that permit dogs to be tethered, but only for a limited period of time when certain conditions are met. The handout also includes a list of U.S. states with dog laws that address tethering. Finally, on the last few pages, you'll see copies of both the Essex County and Ulster County, New York dog tethering laws. 2 New York counties with countywide tethering laws currently in place. These counties can serve as 2 precedents in New York, examples for this type of change. Please keep in mind that Essex County is only 20 minutes south of Plattsburgh. Other New York communities with tether laws include Dutchess County, New York, Hempstead, New York City, Niagara Falls, and North Hempstead, New York. All have very thorough and well-written laws that have one thing in common. The laws are designed to prevent endangering a dog when it is tied up, or in other words, tethered. I sincerely hope I have convinced you and your town to update your animal control laws to include laws on tethering. Laws similar to those in other communities in New York. And just so you know, those dogs and moors will likely continue to live a life tied up outside until the laws are changed. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay. That brings us to supervisor's report. Good evening. Congratulations to 2 of our NCCS athletes, Bailey LaFountain and Desiree Dubois, who each surpassed scoring 1,000 points in their basketball careers. Congratulations for this impressive achievement of joining the 1,000 point club. That's awesome, huh? I would like to extend a big thank you to our highway department. They've done an outstanding job taking care of our roads this winter. Even though we have been experiencing a mild winter, the lack of heavy snowfall usually equates to icy conditions. Our highway crew, including our highway superintendent, done an outstanding job ensuring that our roads are well treated so we can travel on them safely. Thank you for your professionalism. The Town of Champlain is currently working to implement an online payment option for our water and sewer billing. Please keep checking the website as it should be up and running in the next couple of weeks. We recently attended the Chamber of Commerce annual dinner. Our table again was the Town of Champlain and its 2 villages. Both board members from the town and village of Champlain and 4 of our local business owners attended. This was a great evening, and we thank the Chamber for hosting this fun event and for recognizing the great efforts of our businesses. This year's awards were North Country Chamber Person, Alexandria Berry, CDC Real Estate. Business of the Year, Stewart Shops. Business Person of the Year, Matt Boyer, CDC Real Estate. Small Business of the Year Award, Blackbrook General Store. And Trailblazer Award, Alyssa Molmont, Twin State Technologies. Congratulations to the winners of this year's Chamber Awards. The Town of Champlain marketing team launched our economic development video last month. It was exquisitely narrated by our marketing chair, Councilmember Bori. This is a vital addition to our marketing initiative. Please visit our website and check it out, and congratulations to the marketing team. The Boyer Benner Group, BBG, is now working on marketing our town on a variety of social platforms. This initiative will increase our exposure, which will promote tourism and economic development. I attended our quarterly meeting with the Chamber of Commerce last week, and the meetings were to work on the details of linking and presenting our website on Adirondack Coast, New York, Montreal, and North Country Good Life. And I am very appreciative of the support that the Chamber has given us and extremely excited for the additional exposure this will give to our marketing initiative. So they're currently working on that now. We should see that come to fruition, I would think, within the next month. I was again honored to attend the annual Champlain EMS banquet. I hold this event dear to my heart as I am humbled to be in attendance with so many heroes. These men and women give enormous amounts of their time to serve in this community. We are so fortunate to have such qualified professionals who dedicate their lives to saving lives every moment of every day. Report on projects. Ridge Road Water Booster Station upgrades. This project is now complete. Everything is running to specifications and the alarm components were installed and are now operable. Thank you to the residents that were affected during this project for your patience and understanding. Comprehensive plan revision. We recently had a meeting on February 8th for our comp plan revision project with AES and the Department of State DOS. This meeting was to confirm our agenda moving forward as we finally have a confirmed signed contract with both DOS and AES. We have scheduled our first committee meeting for March 13th to get this work started. And we will be posting the project timelines, meeting minutes, and general information on the comp plan on our website. There will be a tab for it. There will be periodical public meetings throughout this project, and this will also be listed on the website, so watch for them. I'm guessing probably every 3 months or so. Please visit our website periodically to keep informed. Miramar Properties, again, the 19 acres with the mall, we are currently waiting for round 8, Restore New York funding to open and start the application process again. The 22 acres submitted for housing, the Clinton County IDA is currently planning on a county-wide feasibility study to include this property and possibly others within the town. And this is county-wide, I want to point out. This is currently in the hands of Lake George, Lake Champlain Regional Planning. An application for grant funding is being prepared. Bob Venn Fitness Center project. We are revising the scope of this project that consists of an outdoor fitness center and double pickleball court. This is due to the requirement to balance the budget between the current funding acquired and the overall cost of the project. So therefore, the basketball will be phase 2. We must now resubmit budget documents to DASNY. I do want to say several organizations have donated this past year and have pledged for 24. We recently received confirmation from Hudson Headwaters that they're donating another $5,000 this year. Thank you very much to Hudson Headwaters. To date, I want to thank the following organizations for their generous contributions. American Legion Post 912 in Rouse's Point, Hudson Headwaters Health Organization, the CVPH Foundation, and MVP Healthcare. Public announcements. The Defensing Drivers course recently held last month in Rouse's Point was very successful. There were a total of 18 individuals who attended. They ranged in age from 16 to 80. Thank you to the instructor, Todd Rabideau, who has been teaching this class for many years. The Clinton County Office for the Aging will hold a community conversation and public hearing on February 21st from 11 a.m. to noon at 5139 North Catherine Street in Plattsburgh. The hearing's purpose is to receive input from older adults, caregivers, and community members about Office for the Aging service plans for the upcoming program period and to learn what current needs exist. Pre-register by calling 518-565-4620 no later than February 16th. And FYI, we are currently working on scheduling an informational gathering here at the town of Champlain for our seniors. We will post the time and date on our website and Facebook page, and also we will include it in the Champlain telephone billing once we have that set. Rouse's Point Civic Center Public Skating, open skating on February 11th from 3:30 to 5. Stick and Puck, February 11th, 5:30 to 6:30. Please visit our website for the full event schedule found in the event page. There will be other open skates, and those times will be posted. If anyone needs assistance scheduling for RSV and/or COVID vaccines, you may contact us at the Town of Champlain office. We will assist you with the online process. Also, note we have COVID test kits and masks still available here at the town office. If you need them, come down and pick them up. The next Champlain EMS and Knights of Columbus blood drive is scheduled for March 18th, 3 o'clock to 7. Please participate and give the gift of life. And please note, I am in my office every weekday from 9:45 to 1 p.m. Please feel free to stop in. I'll be happy to discuss the town's projects and objectives with you. My door is always open, but it may be best to call first as there are many appointments and meetings that fill my schedule. Thank you to all veterans and active military men and women for your service. And also thank you to all first responders, both paid and volunteer, of our EMS and fire departments. And thank you to our police officers for your dedication to our community. Thank you. Okay, we'll go find my... That brings us to your reports. I just lost my page though. Report from the council members. Councilmember Bori.
All right, first thing will be, I'll talk about is the ZBA, super easy. There wasn't a meeting last month, and there is no business for the ZBA to review for this month, so there'll be no meeting for the month of February. Normally that meeting is held on the third Thursday of the month at 5:30 right here at the town office, but due to the fact that there's no business, we will not be having a meeting in February. Moving on to the marketing committee, the supervisor brought up some things. Thank you very much, appreciate that. We've got our statistics here from Boyer Benner, kind of giving us a rundown without going into the too fine a point, but kind of giving us a little bit of the traffic, where people are clicking, what are they clicking, where are they getting their information from, some of the engagements with a few of the ads that have gone out, so some valuable information. I think the numbers look modest. I think that's to be expected as we're just starting this process of looking at where, you know, where are people connecting with us? It looks like the court's pretty popular in terms of the site information off the website, but you know, again, we're hoping to increase volume and traffic on our new website as we're pushing out these engageable ads and things like that.
Your economic development is higher on the list also.
Which is great.
Yes, I was just pointing out, and what's the period of time on this? Wasn't this about a month or so?
That's correct. Report for January through, they say March, but it was generated on the 13th. So you're looking at, what's that, about 6 weeks or so?
Yeah, so if you look at the totals real fast, it's almost 1,700 users, 4,000 views. I mean, I think that's,
I mean, yeah, it's
good.
I would say we're on the right path.
Yep.
It's good. And along that, we had review of approval for some images. We all looked at some images. They were for winter, spring, and some of those marketing initiatives have gone out. They kind of showed us a few of them that they pushed out through Facebook and you know, making those connections. Ice fishing, although the lake is not seeing too much ice on it, but it might be just one of those years. So.
yeah. In regards to that, have you given more thought to photos that we need Chris to go out? Remember that was an assignment they gave us?
Yes.
I think we need to have him take photos of all of our restaurants within the town and villages.
Sure.
Because I think that we need to push everybody periodically out there.
Sure.
You agree?
I think it's a great idea. And, you know, it's as always, and this started under our old website, there's an open invitation for any businesses in the township, this includes the 2 villages, any businesses that want to be on the website, just have to reach out to us and we'll post that information. So please don't be bashful. We'll help support you as part of one of the reasons why the township's so great.
Mhm.
So the data review, that was pretty good, with more to follow up. I did have a phone call with Aaron, and we've been playing phone tag, but he's on my list of people to call back. We're just trying to, talk about, what he thought was successful in this first go-around and where we'd like to go. I think he wants some more of our feedback in terms of what they should be going and capturing and that kind of stuff.
So I'll try to remember to do an email regarding those photos, but feel free to reiterate it.
It's not a problem. I mean, I think they have somewhat of a timeline, but I'm not convinced they're looking to run out here tomorrow, so, yeah. Few other things, just to mention that JCO outreach in the village of Champlain, if you're looking for food resources, please reach out to them. It is still winter and it's still complicated for some families, especially having to get around. So they can be helpful in terms of helping people with getting things that they might need, as well as heat assistance. They can also help you. I believe those applications are still open because it's still,
Yes.
it's still winter. A few things here, Hometown Heroes applications, we're about ready to close up the application process, but they will remain open just a hair longer, so if there are any last minute stragglers that are going to be putting in a Hometown Heroes application for the 2024 season, please reach out to Sarah or get your application in as soon as possible here to the town office so we can get that reviewed. We're hoping to send the new slate of banners out relatively soon. So, Rouse's Point Stars and Stripes on the Lake, they're in planning for the summer celebration in Rouse's Point. The planning goes on year round. They're looking for people that are interested in becoming sponsors for the event, vendors for the event. This includes crafts, any kind of wares, food trucks, just entertainment, beverage. They're looking for anybody that's interested in getting involved and becoming a part of the festival for the weekend. This will also include parade entries, and please go to starsandstripes.com. That's the website you can go to for information.
Are the dates of the parade on there?
That's correct, yes, and the theme and all that stuff. So please, please get involved. They also have a fundraiser coming up on March 22nd at the American Legion in Rouse's Point. They have a comedian coming, and they're using that as an opportunity to raise funds to help pay for the events of the 4th of July celebration. It would probably boggle or blow the minds of some people to realize how expensive these events can be when they're multi-day and you require a lot of vendors and you require a lot of staff. Last thing, no, I have two more things. So something a little out of the normal from what we've done, but we're going to have a very early food truck here at the town office. Lightning Lardy's Barbecue is going to be celebrating his anniversary month, which is March. So that's coming up next month. This will be March 20th. And he will be here at the town office offering his fantastic barbecue for anybody that wants to show up. We don't have a time set yet, but it is March 20th. Please go to our Facebook page and go to our website where you can find that information. I want to say it's the normal time in the evening, right? Would you say? Or is it going to be during the day?
I thought it was lunchtime, but I'm not sure.
It could be a lunchtime. It very well could be. That was not in the message I received from Sarah, but we'll have an update next meeting, but please check our Facebook page and the website for more information. It's March 20th, though, Lightning Lardy's Barbecue. And one more thing that I want to mention here is, if people are not aware, and we've been discussing this in passing, is that there's going to be a full, total solar eclipse on April 8th. At about 3:25 in the afternoon, and we are in the path of totality. So it's important that the people in the villages and the town understand what this is gonna mean. This is not just, it's gonna be a regular everyday and the sun is gonna be blocked out for a few minutes. There is going to be a heavy amount of extra people in the township. And it may cause some commotion and problems. So people need to be aware and prepared for that, so they're not caught in huge traffic lines, or it is possible. I was just listening to a story this morning where in certain places where it was like in Montana, was that the place? Where there's a lot of land in Montana that the whole place became a parking lot, because people just wanted to see.
School's in session that day.
So as
It's
of
a Monday.
as of right now, that looks like school is not gonna be in session.
Oh.
And there, yes.
Oh, rats.
So it's,
Well, that would be wise, because I'm thinking that's the middle of my bus run.
yes,
Oh, yes?
yes, you're not gonna, yeah, but you're gonna be in standstill. So that's the prediction. Even the county, emergency services, I think, are advising that if schools plan on being open that day, that they should not be open that day, or at least take a half day, so they can get people home and make sure that they're not stranded for multiple hours. So I just wanna make people aware that there could be this isn't panic, but there could be a large influx of individuals that are gonna be here, which means they're gonna be eating and shopping and taking up space on our roads, and that could mean possible shortages if there's a huge influx of, just being aware of that. So
Yeah,
people just-
supposed to be total darkness for what, 4 minutes?
4 minutes.
4 minutes?
Yeah, and we're gonna work with Sarah to put up a link on our website that can give you more information about the solar eclipse, about where to get glasses, special glasses to look at the solar eclipse.
Amazon.
Yeah, so we'll make sure that you have some information on our website as that's coming. New York State is
We got ours already.
New York State is promoting this as a tourist destination. They literally have pathways where they're showing, that's right, Plattsburgh and Champlain are right in the pathway. I think St. Albans is another spot that's like right in the perfect zone. So we're right in the path, so just be prepared for April 8th. Now, if it's cloudy, there might not be anybody here, but it is possible that it could be a beautiful day.
I think people have planned already, so.
Yes, all right, so, that's my last point, so ends the report.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Councilmember Southwick.
I would like to contribute to that because I had all of that on here. The partial eclipse starts in, I think it's Canandaigua in New York
Okay.
at 2 p.m. So there's partial eclipse starting at 2 and it progresses until 3:25 and it'll be darkness for about 4 minutes. Eye protection, a friend of mine got eye protection on Amazon maybe 4 months ago in preparation because he's coming up with his friend up here to watch it. And they've literally doubled the cost of the glasses now from what it was before. But there is a website, it's science.nasa.gov, and if you search on that website, cereal box viewer, this is why I thought it would be cool for the kids to make them, maybe and take them home. Schools can make them. I made them in 2017 when I was on the beach at my mother's house, and it works. You just take a cereal box, it'll show you how to make it. You can actually view it. The sun will be from behind you, but you can view it in the cereal box at the bottom. It's pretty cool, and you can watch the whole thing happen. Without looking at the
Yes.
sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So just as a follow-up, the school, Northeastern Clinton is partnering with Dodge Memorial Library in Rouse's Point to try to provide, I believe this is the case, every student in the district with a pair of glasses that
Oh, that's nice.
that they will have access
that's
to.
great.
But I love the project idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just thought that was great.
Yeah.
We took a bunch of cereal boxes, we had about 5 or 6 of them, we brought them down to the beach. There were people we didn't even know giving us the hairy eyeball, like, what are they doing? And we shared the boxes with everybody so that they can watch, it was pretty cool. I'm gonna defer the fishing from Rick's
Yes.
email to you.
Okay.
Yeah, the planning board did not meet in February. There was not any business to discuss in February. The next meeting that is scheduled is for March 7th, provided there is business to attend to, and I do not have any agenda for that meeting thus far. It occurs on the first Thursday, which is March 7th at 5:30 in the afternoon. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Dora.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Southwick, excuse me.
That's okay.
I have Councilmember Hunter's report, who could not be here tonight. Rouse's Point Fire Department. Rouse's Point Fire Department will be holding a cornhole tournament March 2nd at the American Legion. They'll be holding their spring firemen's breakfast on April 14th. That's a tentative date, so I guess watch for it. Watch our event page on our website, we'll be posting stuff. They'll be holding a car wash in early spring, date to be determined. Champlain Fire Department. The bid openings for the new fire station project, 4 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. We're excited to see this, of course, and we'll review all bids in great detail, and if all goes well, issue the awarding bids next month. More to follow on that in the next few weeks. They're working with an auditor to get their new ISO rating across the town. That too should occur in the next few weeks. And finally, they are still working with the town on the dry hydrant project across town, specifically waiting for approval from the county to install a swing dry hydrant on the Stetson Road Bridge. So we've been in contact with them as well. We're trying to get the county to approve that. EDU committee, there are no appeals or new information to report at this time. Grant committee, Rick is recommending a paid service. This is in regards to youth. We'll have more discussion as we get to budget time. We'll possibly budget for this next year, and maybe it can be part of the youth program with the villages as well. We'll have to determine that later. Then he also wanted me to point out, because we received some information recently on this, is please keep an eye on the emails you're receiving. There's a lot of phishing emails being sent out this time of year. We received our fair share here at the town. Phishing is a type of online scam that targets consumers by sending them an email that appears to be from a well-known source. An internet service provider, a bank, or a mortgage company, for example. It asks the consumer to provide personal identifying information. Don't give it. What are the examples of phishing emails? The most common examples are the fake invoice scam, advance fee scam, Google Docs scam, message from HR scam, Dropbox scam, and unusual activity scam. If you don't recognize the email sender or the attachment, please do not click on it or any link in the email. Do not reply to the email either. We'll probably be working on trying to get this information on the website. Talking to Sarah about it. That's all Mr. Hunter has tonight. That ends our reports.
Do we know when the signups for town summer youth programs will be available? Is that usually March, I wanna say?
March, just April-ish?
Yeah.
No, I don't know when yet. I'll probably be next month we'll announce that.
Okay.
Okay, report from the town clerk.
You have my monthly report for approval.
Welcome a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the town clerk's monthly report for January.
I will second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Joanne, just sign copy.
Thank you.
Okay, review of the post audit bills. Abstract, do you have any questions on that? As you can see, our large water district loan payment is part of this abstract.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it is so high.
There's a couple added bills too, did she give you those?
No.
I think it was a last minute thing, yeah. So,
That would be for the bill list, right,
yeah,
coming up? Okay, so there's no questions on the abstract. We'll move on to the approval of the monthly bills. And that, Julie says you have additionals.
yeah, so a pair of boots for $248.35. And
238.
248.
$248.35. And then we also have, looks like men's 5-pocket pants and an insulated jacket, $391.55. And this is all for the code officer,
$391,
$391.55,
okay. And is that it?
yes.
So do you have a total and a grand total? Should you provide
No.
that? No? Okay. So that makes the total billing $59,876.69. And with an additional $639.90 on top of the original $59,236. So, welcome. A motion to approve paying the bills.
I will make a motion to approve the bills for February 12th, 2024. Paying of the bills.
I'll second.
Thank you, for that total of $59,876.69. Any other questions regarding it? Anything that's on here?
Looks like. How many payments on the sand pit? It says third, I'm trying to remember how many that was for.
What page you on?
First page.
Is this on the lease, I'm thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was 4, if I remember
Does
right.
that sound right?
Yeah, it was 4, I have to go back and look at the contract. Certain, but
And that's a once a year thing to make the payment and.
Yeah. I believe so. But again, I can, I'll try to, I'll scan it to you, send it to you tomorrow so you can see it, how's that?
All right, that sounds fine.
Okay, if there's no further questions, roll call please.
Councilmember Southwick,
Aye.
Councilmember Bory,
Aye.
Supervisor Trombley.
Aye. Okay, you have your report from the code officer. I had 2 things on here, I had that subdivision that was being created inappropriately on Fairbank Road, so that's pending. It's not completed. And then that last one on the bottom, that final inspection with a temporary CO issue, that's for Duncan.
What did you say, Tom?
That last one on the bottom
Mhm.
is for Duncan, or
Oh.
Dunkin' Donuts, Duncan, the building that they just remodeled. So they're waiting the final electrical inspection, they're waiting for a sign to come in. And then you have your monthly dog report. If there are no questions, we will move on. And I do not have a report from the highway superintendent. Correspondence, you have a chart of communications, notification of channels that are changing. Everybody will see that, they're using it. Internal emergency contact list, Classburg Division. These numbers are found on our website. If you go to contact us, you will see that there will be response numbers for NICEAG gas emergencies and one for electrical emergencies. And there's also one there for the overall gas system.
And we're considered in the Plattsburgh division,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, then you have your driver's needs analysis. Site plan for the Bob Venn Park. I wanna pause on this. I know somebody asked about a gazebo.
There's a gazebo there.
Yeah, the
I
gazebo.
noticed that when I went by.
Right, so we don't have it on here, and I don't know if we wanna add it at this time, cause that's portable, okay?
Is it?
And we plugged it there because we weren't sure where it was gonna fit. If you look at the site plan, I think it's right about where the east end of the basketball court is.
Correct. Yes,
You agree?
yes, I would agree.
So my guess is we're gonna have to move it over.
Correct.
Once we get these things all marked out, I'm thinking it's gonna have to go maybe between the flagpole and the tee box for the disc golf,
Mhm.
like just around the corner. But do you agree that, or do you think I should add it as a possible site here? Because he could add that.
If it's portable, we can put it anywhere.
We'll move it around as we need to, yeah.
Sure,
I mean, I'm sure Alan's gonna say, find a spot for it so I can land it.
I'm sure he is.
But I'm thinking that's where it's gonna land. But again, I'm asking you guys, do you want me to have James revise this one more time before we pay him? Do you think it's worth having that on here?
Well, shouldn't everything we want be on here?
It should be on.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear, but I would say we should have what we want, you know, what we plan.
As long as Alan knows that it's movable.
Well, he knew that when we landed it where we put it, because I
Right.
told him that I didn't know if it'd stay there or not. So,
But, you know, if we're thinking about putting solar lights in that area, which is right where that gazebo is, right? It's in the neck of the walking path.
yeah, those are gonna go right off the edge of the path though.
Sure.
So what I could do
But
is,
if you put the gazebo right on the south side of the soccer field,
right,
might not be a bad place, because then the net will protect it from getting hit with soccer balls.
mhm. I think we wanna keep it near the trail. The
Mhm.
idea is for people to be able to
Mhm.
stop and take a break in there if they want to.
Yep, good idea.
Is that a relocation of the flagpole?
Well, that's where it
That's where it
currently
is.
That's
exists.
currently where it rests.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we haven't decided if we're relocating it to the future military
Okay, right,
monument or not.
right, okay.
I kinda like to leave it there if we could, if we can get some donations for new flagpoles for that monument when we get to it. I think if we keep the gazebo near, in that area, it's kind of fitting.
Okay.
But anyway, so I drew it on that curve, and I'll ask James for one last thing, and then we'll send him a check.
Okay.
You guys agree?
Mhm.
Okay, moving on. The Champlain Hudson Power Express notification that they're supposed to be starting soon. Map of where the cable's going, and Center of the Lake. We have a thank you card, the Champlain Town Board and Zoning Board for the Arnold family. Clinton County Planning Board, notification of their approval for the zoning law amendment. Okay, so that brings us to new business. Here we go. So as we go through these, when I get to the zoning, we'll have a quick discussion. I thought of something that I should have brought up at the public hearing. Resolution number 10 of 2024, to adopt Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a designated holiday for the town of Champlain employees and serve as an addendum to the employee handbook. Whereas the town board of the town of Champlain is desirous of adding Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a holiday to the employee handbook of the town of Champlain, and whereas Martin Luther King Jr. Day is observed nationally on the third Monday of January, the town of Champlain elects to observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day on the day after Memorial Day. Therefore, be it resolved this 13th day of February 2024 that a copy of this resolution will serve as the addendum to section 700, holidays, on page 700-1 of the official employee handbook of the town of Champlain. And be it resolved that this addendum to section 700, holidays, of the official employee handbook of the town of Champlain, which is dated September 1st, 2023, is adopted by the town board. And further, be it resolved that a copy of this addendum for this added holiday of the town of Champlain employee handbook shall be distributed to all full-time employees. Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 10?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 10 of 2024 as presented by the supervisor.
Thank you.
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Julie, you've got a copy, right? Resolution number 11 of 2024. Resolution classifying the proposed Town of Champlain Local Law Number 1 of 2024 as a Type 1 action under State Environmental Quality Review, SEQR, and to propose that the Town of Champlain Town Board serve as a lead agency to conduct an uncoordinated review under SEQR. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Champlain may amend its zoning law by the adoption of Local Law Number 1 of 2024, amendment to Chapter 130, Zoning, Section 3, subsection 130-99 of the Code of the Town of Champlain as amended in Local Law Number 2 of 2022. And whereas 6 NYCRR Part 617 of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, requires that a lead agency be established for conducting environmental review of projects in accordance with local and state environmental law. And whereas state law specifies that for actions governed by local environmental review, the lead agency shall be on that local agency, which has primary responsibility for approving and carrying out the action. And whereas this is a Type 1 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and whereas the Town Board of the Town of Champlain will act as lead agency in evaluating the action. Now therefore, be it resolved that no other involved agencies have been identified, and therefore the town will undertake an uncoordinated review of the action. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Champlain hereby declares itself lead agency for the environmental review of Local Law Number 1 of 2024. Motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 11 of 2024 for law number 1 of 2024 as stated by the supervisor.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you both. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Now Julie, shouldn't we go into that review at this point? I don't think I had that on here.
Yeah, do you have it?
Oh, I'm gonna have to grab it. Did we each have a copy of it, or just me? Remember I printed that out? Want to come back to it? Either way, I'm gonna go grab it off my desk.
Yeah, you don't have it in here.
You don't have it? Okay. That's an error, I'm sorry. Because the, we need to go through that before we did resolution 12. Correct?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
missed that.
Okay, Julie, so, do we need to cover part one at all?
No,
Just
it's
say
got
it's
to be part
satisfied.
two.
It's amazing what your brain will see, even if it's not there. I must have read that at least 3 times.
So part one has been completed and satisfied, but to do an coordinated review, we need part two, right? So I will go through this. We will check them off. I've got them all filled out actually, let's see if we can agree to this. So you're gonna need a copy of this or we can't do this. They're gonna have each have a copy in front of them. Sorry about that, that's my error, I had this right on my desk. I have to copy that for you. I need a break anyways.
Moderation.
So I think I'd like to point out now that you can mold this in your head when we get to the actual zoning law resolution to adopt. Mr. and Mrs. Bayshard, Mr. and Mrs. Norman Bayshard, and I apologize if you're watching, Norman, they came into my office to voice their opinion on solar in general. They're not in favor of it. That was their overall opinion. And they wanted me to make sure to mention that, and I forgot until way after the public hearing. So, I'm sure we have,
I'm sure
Right,
there's many
folks.
members of the community that have their opinions on solar.
yes. Yes, so. With that said, when we get to that, are you in favor of moving forward to adopt? I think that, in my opinion, trying to change this in any way, shape, or matter is going to be difficult to satisfy every piece of ground.
Not being on the background of all of this, just kind of coming into it. I think what you said as this being protection, there's the map looks like it's a very expansive area. There's a lot of private property, a lot of farmland.
Mhm.
I don't see that it's gonna be gobbled up.
No.
You know,
Right,
It's
we,
just-
yeah, we've discussed, it's also, it's capitalistic nature. If somebody's private property and they are in a zone where they can put solar on and that's their prerogative to do so, I mean, I don't know what I want to say to that.
That's what I said.
Right.
I don't
And are
think
we
that's,
talking about large, I mean, if it's a piece of private property,
this is only in regards to large scale solar, so it's,
Correct.
you know, it's like 15 acre plots.
how many large plots of land out there besides the Drew poultry
Right,
would be able to host something like that?
right. I think that we're getting narrowed down myself, but. Anyways, back to seeker. This is in regards to the solar. This is in regards to adopting the law. So, as we go through this, we're gonna start with number 1, impact on land, proposed action. Keep in mind, this is not we're not talking the installation of solar, we're talking about the law only. So, proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site, No, because this is just the law, that would be done individually later. So, if no, we move to section 2. Impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual lands, forms in the sites. Again, no, because we're talking the law, we're not talking the installation. So we move to section 3. Impacts on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. Again, if you agree with me, it's no, because we are talking about adopting the law and putting the law in place. The construction will be a different story. Move on to 4, impact on groundwater. The proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer. Again, no, because we're not talking about construction, it's just the law, so we move on to section 5, impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in development on land subject to flooding. No, not in regards to the law. Move on to section 6, impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state-regulated air emission source. Again, no. Move on to 7, impacts on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in a loss of flora or fauna. Again, no, because we're talking the law. This will be addressed during installation, if any. Move on to section 8. Impact on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources. No. Move on to section 9. Impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or are in sharp contrast to current land use patterns between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource. No, again, not in regards to this implementing law. Go to section 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource. Again, no. Go to section 11, impact on open space and recreation. Proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or reduction of open space resource as designated in any adopted municipal open space plan. Again, no, because we're talking about the law and the law would actually control that. Move on to section 12, impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area, CEA. Again, no. Go to section 13. Impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems. Again, no. Go to section 14. Impact on energy. The proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy. Again, no. This action is adopting the law. Impact on noise, odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odors, or outdoor lighting. Again, no, in regards to the law. Go on to 16, impact on human health. The proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants. And the answer is no. Move on to 17, consistency with community plans. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. Again, no. In contrary, this law is actually part of that. So the answer is no. We move on to section 18, consistency with community character. This proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character. Again, no, this is just in regards to adopting the law for code. So, we all agree with that? And Julie, you're gonna need part 3, correct? You want a copy of part 2 to file as well in part 1?
Yeah.
I believe, catch me in the morning, I think I have to sign part 2. When I come in, we'll make sure we have that all buttoned up. Okay, so if we're all in agreement with that, it brings us to resolution number 12 of 2024, State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, adopting negative declaration in relation to local law number 1 of 2024. Whereas the Town of Champlain Town Board has introduced local law number 1 of the year 2024, Town of Champlain zoning law amendments of 2024, and whereas this project is type 1 action within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and whereas based on its consideration of the proposed project, its review of the environmental assessment form, and all other supporting information submitted in connection with the proposed project, and the criteria set forth in Title VI of the New York Codes, Rules and Regulations, NYCRR, subsection 617.7. The Town of Champlain Town Board, as lead agency, has identified and analyzed the relevant areas of environmental concern to determine whether the proposed action may have a significant adverse impact on the environment. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Champlain Town Board hereby finds and determines that the proposed project will not have any significant adverse impacts on the environment, and therefore issues a negative declaration of environmental significance pursuant to SECRA for the reasons set forth in the attached determination of significance in Part 2 of the EAF, all of which is incorporated herein by reference, and the reading of all of which are waived. Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 12 of 2024,
Declaring a negative declaration.
declaring a negative declaration.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Julie, make sure I gave you a copy of the, just read it here. Oh, the attached determination of significance, I have that written.
Yeah, I have that.
You have it, okay. If not, I have it on file, perfect. It has to go with it, I guess. I'm sure you know that. Moving along, resolution number 13 of 2024. Okay, so everybody's in agreement. This is adoption of local law number 1 of 2024, entitled Amendment to Chapter 130 Zoning, Section 3, subsection 130-98 and subsection 130-99 of the Code of the Town of Champlain. Whereas the Town of Champlain Town Board has identified the need to revise the town zoning law standards for large-scale solar energy systems, Section 3, subsection 130-99. A, to add specific areas within the zoning districts where large-scale solar energy systems are permitted in the Town of Champlain. And whereas the town board has determined that large-scale solar energy systems shall be permitted only within those areas designated on the zoning overlay map dated December 22nd, 2023. And whereas the town board deems it in the best interest of the town for the town board to reduce or waive the building permit fees on large-scale solar energy systems by adding the following paragraph after subsection 130-99. E. F. All large-scale solar energy systems shall require a building permit for construction and will be subject to a building permit fee as listed in the Town of Champlain Building Permit Fee Schedule. This fee may be reduced or waived by the town board resolution based on the following criteria, which is not intended to be an exclusive list. A contract providing that substantial annual community benefit payments are paid to the Town of Champlain for the life of the system. Or B, if the solar energy system is being installed on town property resulting in annual lease payments paid to the Town of Champlain. And whereas the town board had previously initiated the adoption process for subsection 272-A of town law, it introduced local law number 1 on January 9th, 2024. And now therefore Be it resolved, I just found a typo. Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Champlain does hereby approve and adopt local law number 1 of 2024.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 13 of 2024, the adoption of local law number 1 of 2024, dealing with zoning, section 3, subsection 130-98, and subsection 130-99.
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Julie, I'll have to fix a typo and send it to you. Boy, Dora, we did a good job too.
I thought we did.
Okay. So now I have a copy of local law number 1 here, but I am not going to read the law. It's been introduced and provided for review. Agreed?
Yes.
I had a large majority of it in the resolution. Resolution 14, number 14 of 2024. Approval and endorsement of the application of the Clayton County Soil and Water Conservation District for a grant under the Urban Community Forestry Program. Project, Clayton County Northern Tier Ash Tree Management. Whereas the Clinton County Soil and Water Conservation District is applying to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for a reimbursement project grant under the Urban and Community Forestry, UCF, program to be located in the town of Champlain, New York, a site located within the territorial jurisdiction of this town board. And whereas, as a requirement of the UCF program, said district must obtain the approval and endorsement of the governing body of the municipality in which the project will be located. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Champlain hereby does approve and endorse the application of the Clayton County Soil and Water Conservation District for a grant under the Urban and Community Forestry Program for a project known as Clayton County Northern Tier Ash Tree Management and located within this community. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 14 of 2024 for the project of Clinton County Northern Ash Tree Management, Northern Tier, excuse me, Ash Tree Management.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll need a copy of the signed and stamped version to mail to Cook County Soil and Water Conservation. Resolution 15, number 15 of 2024. Resolution to adopt and allocate funds to acquire land adjoining the town of Champlain Bob Venn Park. At a meeting of the Town of Champlain Town Board held on February 13, 2024, wherein the following action is taken. Whereas the Town of Champlain is committed to improving recreation for our residents by expanding the amenities at the Town of Champlain Bob Venn Park, located at 106 Route 276. And whereas the current available acreage at Bob Venn Park and the configuration of the property's boundaries, the town board deems it necessary to purchase an additional 2.7 acres of adjoining land. Parcel ID 19.1-58.4. To provide the necessary space to construct a double pickleball court, outdoor fitness court, and a parking area. And whereas the town of Champlain has agreed on a purchase price of $12,000 for this 2.7 acre parcel, ID number 19.1-58.4, from the Donald G. Robinson Life Estate. And whereas the Town of Champlain Town Board appropriated funds in the 2024 fiscal year for this land purchase within the playground capital budget line item B 7140.2, and Now therefore be it resolved, that the Town of Champlain Town Board will adopt and allocate $12,000 of funds from B 7140.2 for the purchase of this property for Bodden Park. Motion to approve said resolution as written. Council,
I'll make a motion to approve the said resolution, number 15 of 2024, on acquiring the land adjoining Bodden Park as presented by the supervisor.
And I'll second that motion.
thank you. Any further discussion?
I would only say, as somebody who worked with you on acquiring this, it is, for the price that will be paid, it will be an added element to the development of that park and for the town's and our community's well-being, so it's
For the development of the town?
yeah.
Really? Yeah, I agree. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So now we have local law number 2 will be on file here. I have the draft. Julie, do you need a copy?
No, I got it.
You got it? Okay. This brings us to resolution number 16 of 2024. Not bad for February, huh?
I don't know what the record is, but
Look at last year. Last year was probably close. Resolution number 16 of 2024 to introduce local law number 2 of 2024. This is the big one. Entitled Amendment to Chapter 124 Water, Article 1, subsection 124-1 through subsections 124-23. And Article 3, subsection 124-39 through subsection 124-51 of the Code of the Town of Champlain. Whereas the Town of Champlain Town Board has identified the requirement to amend the Town Water Code, Chapter 124, Article 1, subsection 124-1 through subsection 124-23, and Article 3, subsection 124-39 through subsections 124-51, to add language to provide standardization and accuracy. And whereas the town board has determined that Article 1, subsection 124-1 through subsection 124-23 required additional language as follows. Subsection 124-1 definitions. Superintendent of the Consolidated Water District. The language of the superintendent of the Consolidated Water District and a town water operator are to be used interchangeably and are equivalent and are intended to have the same meaning throughout this chapter. 124-2 General Regulations. Only town representatives or fire department members are allowed to operate fire hydrants or curb stops. Also added reference to subsection 124-23, notification of violation, hearing and penalties for offenses in falsifying information. 124-9, meter tampering prohibited, added reference to subsection 124-23, notification of violation, hearing penalties for offenses and falsifying information. Subsection 124-15, connecting service lines to mains. Specify that at least 24 hours notice shall be given to the superintendent or employee of the town prior to the proposed date of such connection or tap. Subsection 124-18, new connections or extensions. Pipes and connections between the main and the meter shall not be covered until so inspected and approved by the superintendent or employee of the town. No new tap shall be made to a water main to connect with a service line which is intended to replace an existing service line unless the existing service line is properly disconnected at its tap to the main. The expense of such disconnection shall be borne by the property owner or applicant. 124-20, joints. No service line may be installed without facilities which may be used for another connection between the water main and the water meter. No T or other fitting shall be permitted on the service pipe between the main and the meter. 124-23, notification of violation, hearing, penalties for offenses, falsifying information, and civil penalties. Any person, household, firm, or corporation who is found to have violated an order of the town board or willfully and negligently failed to comply with any of the provisions of this section, regulations, permits issued, and ordinance hereby enacted shall, upon conviction, be fined $250 for the first time offense. Each subsequent offense will be fined a minimum of $500 to a maximum of $1,000. Each day on which such violation continues shall constitute a separate offense. And whereas the town board has determined that Article 3, subsection 124-39 through subsection 124-51 required additional language as follows. 124-39, permits, requests for service. Application. An application and permit must be completed and filed with the town water operator. All applications must be approved and a deposit of 10% of estimated charges for services paid before any installation can begin. Cost of installation. All subsequent hookups to the town water system inside or outside the consolidated water district from the main to the consumer property line or curb stop will be according to the schedule of estimated charges for services rendered policy. 124-42, backflow preventers and pressure reducing valves, PRVs. Where required by the town within the water district, PRVs will be installed and maintained at the expense of the town. Subsection 124-45, operation of fire hydrants. No fire hydrant will be operated by anyone except a representative of the water district or fire department for the purpose of fighting a fire or a planned firefighter training exercise. No person shall open, interfere with, or draw water from any fire hydrant in the town water district without a permit from the town water operator or authorized employee of the town. Hydrants may be opened by or on the order of any member of a fire department for the purpose of attaching thereto a fire hose and equipment in case of fire or for training purposes. Whenever a hydrant has been opened and used by the fire department, notification of such fact shall promptly be given to the water operator or authorized employee of the town. The prohibition of subsection A above shall not apply to employees or officials of the town of Champlain or the village of Champlain when it is necessary in the course of their work to open a hydrant. No person shall deposit any building materials or other articles to create any obstruction as to obstruct free access to any fire hydrant at any time. The town reserves the right to remove and dispose of the obstruction at the expense of the property owner without warning. The town and its agents and members of the fire department accept no liability for damages caused to private property obstructing a fire hydrant at any time. No person shall in any manner willfully injure the curb stop. Boxes or fire hydrants. Subsection 124-51, schedule of charges. Following descriptions were added. This is in the table of equivalent dwelling units, EDUs, Town of Champlain Consolidated Water District. Description, solar farm, medium scale level 2 and large scale level 3. EDU assessment, level 2, 2.0, level 3, 5.0. Storage unit buildings, 1 to 5 buildings on property, 2.0. Storage unit buildings, over 5 buildings on property, 0.25 EDUs per building. And whereas the town board is initiating the adoption process per subsection 272-A of town law, and now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Champlain does hereby introduce local law number 2 of 2024. Motion to approve said resolution as written.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 16 of 2024 to introduce local law number 2 entitled Amendment to Chapter 124 with Article 1 and Article 3 with subsections as listed as described by the supervisor.
I'll second the motion.
Nice, thank you. Any further discussion?
It's long, and you took your time with it, but the language is necessary. So
I condensed all I could.
it was pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a tough one. If no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, that was a bear. That's quite an amendment we got going there. Okay, so we're getting there, guys. Resolution number 17 of 2024. To set a public hearing for proposed local law number 2 of 2024, entitled Amendment to Chapter 124 Water, Article 1, subsection 124-1 through subsection 124-23, and Article 3, subsection 124-39 through subsection 124-51 of the Code of the Town of Champlain. Whereas proposed local law number 2 of 2024 purports to amend the Code of the Town of Champlain, Chapter 124, Water, Article 1, subsection 124-1 through subsection 124-23, and Article 3, subsection 124-39 through subsection 124-51. And whereas the town board desires to hold a public hearing with respect to the adoption of said local law, and now therefore it is hereby ordered that a public hearing be held by this town board with respect to the adoption of the aforesaid local law at 7:15 p.m. on March 12th, 2024, at the Town of Champlain Municipal Building, 10729 Route 9, Champlain, New York. And be it further ordered that the town clerk of the Town of Champlain is hereby authorized and directed to publish a notice of the public hearing in the Plattsburgh Press Republican, the official newspaper of the town for such publication, and post on the signboard of the town maintained pursuant to subdivision 7 of section 30 of the town law, a copy of this order certified by said town clerk, the publication thereof, and said posting to be not less than 10 or more than 20 days before the date of such public hearing. And therefore be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Motion to approve said resolution as written.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 17 of 2024 in order to set a public hearing for the proposed local law number 2 of 2024.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're down to the last resolution. Okay, you have a copy of the credit card policy we have reviewed, and we're all good with. Resolution number 18 of 2024, to adopt a policy entitled Town of Champlain Credit Card Policy. Whereas the Town of Champlain the town board recognizes the necessity to create and implement a credit card policy for the Town of Champlain, and whereas the purpose of this policy is to establish convenient, efficient, and cost-effective method of purchasing goods and services for online purchases, emergency purchases, purchases from vendors that do not accept purchase orders, and/or when a cost savings may be realized by this purchase method. And whereas the town supervisor will document the authorization of the employee or town official being issued a credit card on the Town of Champlain credit card authorization form attached to said policy. And whereas the town board, by board resolution, may revise this policy from time to time if necessary. And whereas the town board approves this credit card policy and attach authorization form, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the Town of Champlain does hereby adopt the Town of Champlain credit card policy of 2024. Motion to approve said resolution as written.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 18, accepting the credit card policy, along with the attached authorization form.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Just that we get the attached authorization form to this,
Yeah.
it's somewhere.
I know there's a copy of my electronic file, but I think there's a copy on my desk. Julie, you don't have a copy of that yet, the form? Okay,
No, but I
so
gotta double get one.
I will give you that form and it will go in with the policy and the policy book for us to use. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Wow. So that brings us to old business. Is there any more new business to put in front of the board?
Just that next thing, emergency response plan.
Thank you. That's what I'm gonna miss out. Because I wasn't following my own agenda. We've all had time to review that. I had Chris review it. He was good with it. I don't even know if I got any replies from it or not.
The only response that I had from Rick was not about this particular plan, but whether we had emergency preparedness plans for other solar farms that are currently in existence.
Right, and, we do have a draft for the one that's going to be constructed. And I requested a comprehensive plan like this for the one that's in existence across from Hudson Headwaters, and I guess I'm gonna have to rattle the bush again and remind them, we haven't got that yet. So that would answer that question. But are we prepared to approve this as written and presented?
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay.
Okay, then, I did not do a resolution for that, I was just gonna simply do a motion.
I think that's fine, right?
I think it's fine too, I didn't think we required a full resolution.
So, Stephen's on the agenda here, unless you wanna do it.
Be my guest.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the NEXAMP emergency response plan. That, the final copy that was approved by all parties.
All board members, yeah, and our,
Code enforcement.
and our code enforcement.
Yeah.
Okay, second,
Oh, second, I will second that.
okay. I just, in regards to discussion, I think it's a very comprehensive plan, I think it's gonna be a tough act to follow.
After the first 3 pages, you got me. This is.
There's a lot of
this is
information
A lot of
there.
information in here. Yeah,
Some of it Chris had requested though.
that's good.
I mean, this has been, that went back and forth for several months before we got to this point. And we've been setting on it for about 2 months, so we're glad to have it done. Okay, if no other discussion, all in favor of approval? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, Julie. There's no other new business. The old business, that revision of chapter 17 of town code, that's still on the list. I hope to get to it soon, but I can tell you that my next item on the agenda is getting the budget revised for that Bob Van Park and all the criteria met
Before the.
for DASNY, because I got a lot of work doing that, so that's where we're headed first. I'll tackle this afterwards. So with that, I need a motion to recess to go into executive session. I've got 2 different contracts to discuss with the board. There may be some action taken. We'll report it and come out of executive session. Motion to recess and.
Yep, I'll make a motion to recess the regular meeting and go into executive session to discuss contracts.
Okay, 9:25. Second?
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
Fine,
It's
thank you.
9:25.
All in favor? Aye? I hear you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Yeah, so you got that time. I'll record, when we come back in the regular session and if there's any motion. So, we need a motion to adjourn from the executive session and go back into the regular board meeting, business meeting.
I will make that motion to adjourn from the executive session and return to the regular board meeting.
I'll second.
At 10:12 p.m. Okay, the discussions during executive session on contracts. The first one, we are ready to move on now in the regular meeting.
And remind me, you would like these separately, correct?
Correct. You want to start with?
Would you like to do the village first? The village of Champlain? or-
Sure, that's fine.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the shared services agreement for the code enforcement officer between the village of Champlain and the town of Champlain as submitted.
Thank you. Have a second?
And I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So that was POC and POC. Okay, next.
Would you like to do the next one?
Sure. I make a motion that we accept the shared services agreement for code enforcement by and between the town of Champlain and the village of Rouse's Point.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
When you are ready, you ready?
Yep, all set.
I'll make a motion to accept the shared services agreement presented to us today between the town of Champlain and the town of Shazy to be effective for the period of now until June 30th, 2024.
Excellent.
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
No?
Not all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. There was no action taken on the second item for discussion. And now I welcome a motion for adjournment.
Oh, I will make that motion to adjourn this town board meeting at 10:15 in the evening.
I will gladly second that motion.
No discussion.
Good job.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're right, you're in your pajamas, we'll have story time and hot cocoa and
I already have my tea.